Today, I want to talk about product display pages on an e-commerce Shopify store. We have seen literally thousands of product pages, and each page is different than the other. There are some critical elements that almost all websites, when they're starting out, get wrong. So today, I want to debunk all miscommunications, all missed opportunities, and essentially clarify any doubts to set up a system that works in exactly the same format and build a perfect product display page. It's a long page, and I want to explain the rationale behind each of these pages. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the stage one, which is the main hero section of the page. In this hero section, we want to have the product images. As many images as we can is great. So we want to have as many images. Typically, we want these shots, as many as you can get: flat lay, front shot, side shot, etc., back shot, macro close up, any in use multiple images, pictures of transformation. So what we want to be able to show here, the two things that matter on your product display page is the copy, which is the content, and the images. The design, the layout, yes, it's important. Usability is important. UI UX to some extent matters, but for the most part, your photography or the images and the content that you include matters, the copy. So be very careful about how you write it, and I'll walk you through step by step on everything that you need to focus on. So when you look at the hero buy box, exactly what the product does: the title, what it is in a short brief description, and if there are any structural information pieces that you want to include here, such as ingredients, such as description, what it contains, any amount of brief information that you want to include here. Ideally, if you have a subscription based product, then you would want to include that and not just some random information that you have space for further down this page. So that's your hero section, one of the most important sections to include. So buy button, definitely include the buy button. One thing that's missing from here, and there's a reason why that's missing: have some third-party logos. In our case, if you see, there is a payment gateway, money back guarantee, etc. So you could use logos for UPS, DHL, FedEx, or you could use logos for PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, etc. But those logos, in our experience, have uplifted conversion anywhere from 3 to 30%. So definitely consider including logos from third parties, such as Google Pay, such as Pay with Amazon, etc. People generally get better trust signals if you have logos of their recognized brands. So that's your core hero section. I'm not going to go into depth of optimizing every section. This video is primarily about what all to include in the section. As you have questions about these sections, feel free to let me know in the comments below, and I'll be happy to address those questions for you. Now, scrolling down, the brag bar. This brag bar should contain typically either the companies whose employees use your product, or the company's brand names that have used your that have talked about your product. Now, generally, again, the optimization angle here is try and target these names to your target audience. If you have a Gen X audience, someone like me, probably sites like CNN might make a difference. Sites like, I don't know, probably to some extent, maybe Men's Health or something like that. But if you're looking at Gen Z or a Gen Alpha kind of audience, you might want to include brands like Refinery 29, Vogue, or GQ maybe. So depending on what target audience is, you want to include those logos here. The third element on your page is the actual transformation. Now, there are 3 levels of transformation that your prospects generally go through: functional transformation, emotional transformation, and an identity shift. I'm not explaining those details here, but once again, that's part of a separate conversation. Right now, how does your product change their lives? Demonstrate that in the form of images. Makes them happy, makes them, what is your target audience like? So using images of your target audience and then describing how it changes their life in a quick, fast manner. Here is an example: modern living leaves our bodies deficient. Groons is the first smart gummy that fills the gaps. Another example: transform your health. Over 35,000 research publications support the efficacy of Groons. So the point here is you are either showing a product visual or your target audience visual, changing their life, getting that transformation, happy eating the gummies, or living life at an old age. You can clearly see this person is an older person and they're living happy with energy. They look like energetic. And that's what this is about: energy levels throughout the day. So remember, this section is important: transformation along with image. Next section brings some statistics. And now if you see, this section is descriptive of statistics. Similarly, here in this section, you have stats here. So some stats in terms of provable stats, of course, don't make them up, but adding numbers makes a lot of sense to readers who are looking at the product, and these numbers stand out because now they can clearly look at the highlights. I'm not going to call them USPs, but the most important pieces of content is highlighted by way of showing them numbers. So that's the third element on the page. Now, generally, and it's not a written scientific rule, but it's generally considered best practice to be able to provide them with a reminder that there is an action available. So having a call to action by using a push-pull technique. So what we've done is we've pushed a lot of information here. We asked for a add to cart, that is a pull. You pushed more information, you pushed more information. Now you're pulling them back, asking them to do something from their end. Then you push more information to them. Now this is where you're looking at two powerful, you can call it the other way around also by the push pull. The technique is pulling them in by providing content and then pushing by pushing a sale on them. That's fine too. Either way, alternating between these two methodologies generally helps. I'm not saying it's a hard and fast rule, but definitely worth exploring. Then you look at the actual science. Why does your product do what it does? You made some claims here. You showed some statistics here, but now is the time to explain why that happens. You can talk about your ingredients. You can talk about, okay, we do it this way, or we do this, and this, and these ingredients do this, this, and this. While there is a separate section below, the idea is, let's say you're selling baby clothing products. So you want to describe the product, the bamboo, viscose, or any other fabric that you use, and you want to talk about why that works. You want to talk about how that happens. So that's basically the idea here. Give me just 1 second. I've got some messages here that I have to respond right away. Okay, we'll cover them separately. So you could talk about why the fabric works, what is the constituents of that fabric, what chemicals are being used to wash, to dye, and therefore it is softer, it is buttery soft, triple dyed or triple washed, etc. So you explain the science behind why your product works, because you made the claim. Now it's time to convince them that yes, the claim is validated. And then your unique value proposition. Remember, these are not just for UVP. Why you are different? So why is it different? We're not doing a comparison here. We're simply stating the top highlights of our product. Think of it like this. There was this, I think it was Claude Hopkins, and he was running this advertising campaign for a brewery. And he went to the brewery and he was talking about stuff. Generally, people talked about, triple distilled or purity or something of that nature, how the beer's filtered and all of that stuff, clean beer, clean brewery. And then he went to the brewery and looked at all the hops and how they were fermenting and how they're doing the process. And he asked them, why don't you talk about this? And they said, well, everybody does that. He said, but nobody talks about them. So I think it was Marlboro or Lucky 7, one of those cigarette brands did that, where they actually went out and said, toasted for better taste. Now, every tobacco brand has to toast before they make a cigarette, but they were the first ones to say it. So use this space to be the first one to say whatever you can about your product. So why it's different. And then once again, now that you've pushed some information, pull them in with a call to action, ask them to buy. Then what's inside the box? What do you send out? What is included? So whether there is a pack, small pack, big pack, a spoon, there is a measuring spoon, measuring cup, anything that is included in the box, instructions manual, include that information here. The idea here is the product display page should answer every single question that there is about the products. Then how to use the product, information about what you need to know, what you need to be careful about, and then a couple of visuals are fine. And then once again, we've pushed the information, so pulling the back in with a call to action. Then the specific ingredients on why it works. Now remember, we talked a little bit about the science of why it works, but now we're talking about ingredients. So this is where you can, for example, let's say you're making something as basic as a hat. Now you can talk about that small button on top of the hat. You can talk about the seam. You can talk about the inside lining of the fabric. You can talk about the dye that you were using. You can talk about the sticker or the label on this hat. Or if you're selling baby clothing products, you can talk about, again, the stitch, the zipper, the quality of the zipper, etc. If you're selling supplements, clearly you can talk about specific ingredients and why they work. So the point here is that these pieces of information are useful for them to kind of deconstruct the entire product. So psychologically get attached to almost everything. You're breaking it down to first principles. So that's the idea here. Once you simplify it for them, it creates clearer pathways in their mind to buy the product. And then based on this, now you move to giving them slightly, so not slightly, giving them a incentive or a methodology or a framework, or touching upon their mind in a way that we need to buy more, or we need to buy consistently, or we need to buy regularly. So for example, in the case of the supplement you're talking about, you see the result here and then here and then here. In the case of, let's say again, a baby clothing company, a swaddle or a onesie, you can probably have three different colors, buy in three colors and save more. So you could have those here, you could have related products, or complement this with this product. So that information can go here. This section generally is about giving your audience a framework to actually say, hey, I like this product a lot, there's a lot of good information, maybe I'll get two instead of one and I'm getting a deal. So include that information here and then support it with a call to action to buy now here. And then more or less your product information is complete. Now you come to the testimonials. Now the testimonials, and this is a very good information here. One, if you have a massive number of feedback points, reviews, use that number. But if you have, I don't know, 84 reviews, might not be that big of a number, but you can always say over 95% 5-star reviews, or over 98% 5-star reviews. So that information helps. So definitely look at it this way. And also the benefits or the reviews should be in two specific frameworks. One, from the audience that you're targeting. Two, from the specific element of value that you're delivering. So since this was I think this was a nutrition supplement, so taste, value, so this is the value feedback, this is the versus other powders feedback, this was benefits, core benefits, how it helps, ingredients feedback, and this was convenience feedback, how is it easy to use. So all of those have been included here. So the reviews should be about these things and from a diverse range of audiences. So your entire target audience group is included here. Further scrolling down, competing with other products. How does it compare to other products? What you're good at versus what others are bad at. So if you see here, this brand has, all of these are like high red stars, while these are cross for the most part. So that's the comparison with other products. And then if you have any expert opinions, such as, again, coming back to the example of hats, has any sport league or some others, maybe even a junior sports league, endorsed your product? Or if there is a community that it is an official hat for. If it's a baby clothing company, is your fabric supported like by FSB certification? Or if it's a supplement company, clearly are other experts, known experts, recommending or endorsing your product? Are there studies that are supporting your product? So this is more mindful content, but definitely something that evokes slightly in-depth research requirements. Then comes your brand values, our standards, anything else that they need to know about your brand. We always, source here. We are a family-run business. We always ship free, or we always support customers 24/7. Could be anything, but what your brand stands for. And then once again, the buy box is repeated here so that they have a clear call to action and move towards buying from you. So this is kind of certification and corporate highlights. CSR details can be included here. This has to be changed. This is the buy box once again. Then comes your frequently asked questions. Anything and everything that you can think of that your customers are asking for, reviews are asking for, your customer support tickets are asking for. All of that information is answered here. And then your general reviews. If you have any lead magnets that you want to include, if people have come all the way this far, less than 20% people will come this far. But if they have, then are you able to collect an email address by giving them some value in terms of a lead magnet? And then any other references that you want to include that you are making these claims off of. So this is the ideal structure for product display page. This information is not easy to come by, but it's not that hard either. If you have a worthy product, if you have made a product that has product market fit, then you are, more than likely to be able to produce this information fairly quickly. So that's kind of how you put this page together. I'm also collecting some templates, but if you want a template or anything else, just let me know. I'll be happy to send the links over to you. But otherwise, if you have questions, comments, let me know in the comments below. Hope you like this session. If there is any other related questions to this, I'll be very happy to answer those questions for you. And we will include this in the screenshots. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We were able to wrap it up in 15 minutes. I'm glad. Bye-bye.